Bow down before my psycho power.
How likely is it that you guys think that the developers will do an all-at-once reveal? This poll is on par with Michael Murray's. First off, they don't want to do all at once. Second off, in order to convince them, how much of the player base do we need to say all at once for them to think so? The hype dies immediately if the season pass shows 4 characters you don't have an interest in, but that's also pressure to do good characters, right? That's like if I tell you for dinner you're going to eat a bologna sandwich. You're going to be like, I'm not really excited for that. But that's like if I was like, oh, dinner's going to be a surprise. And then you all day, you're excited. And you sit down at the table, and then I give you a bologna sandwich. With season 1, they were too corporate with their season pass. Lydia should not have been there. Eddie should have been base roster. Heihachi, really, I think he should have stayed dead, because him showing up and returning did a number on the trust between player and developer, and also it destroyed interest in the story. Heihachi saved it. If you guys think Heihachi was good, I don't disagree. I just think that what Heihachi did to the story was terrible. But there's also another part of this discussion as well, where people say to show the legacy characters, but keep the new characters and guest characters hidden. What do you guys feel about that? I think it's fair. Yeah, I would agree with that. Now that sounds good. Oh, you guys like that idea. See the legacy. But then for the stage, if the legacy character has a stage, do you hide the stage or do you show the stage as well? Just show new stage concept? Yeah, I feel like you should show a concept of the stage. Like if Armor King was going to be given like a jungle stage, like that would be cool. But don't tell me that like the jungle has like a waterfall that you could fall off of and there's a second layer, But yeah, going back to the idea of will the developers do it or not, I say there's like a 60% chance of them doing it. And the reason why I would put the percentage so high, but not too high, is because of Street Fighter. Street Fighter did it. So that means that Tekken could also do it. But also the reason why I want to put the percentage too high is because they don't want to do it. Just don't 3-3 him. Armor King's going to get 3-3. Here's the thing. Okay, so let's talk about Armor King. Armor King in Tekken 7 was one of the most balanced characters. Not only DLC, but just general like characters. So fair. I love the Armor King matchup. And his usage was incredible. There's only 3 characters in Tekken that was DLC and was top 5. That was Armor King, Fahkumram, and Heihachi in Tekken 8. No other DLC out of the many DLCs they've done was that like played. And you talk about over a long duration of time, because people say like, oh, Clive was number 1 on release. So was Lydia. But when we say like they remained there, we're talking about like years later. And of course, for Tekken 8 Heihachi, he haven't got there yet, but he's still maintaining currently, right? Clive already fell out of top 5, and that's the point. Clive fell out of top 5 within like a month and a half, right? Heihachi is still there like 4 months, 5 months later, maybe 6, I don't know. That's the point. Fahkumram was still top 5 when Lydia released. That's like a year and some change later, right? So Armor King was incredibly popular. And in current Tekken, we know how they treat these incredibly popular characters. They make them super powerful. They make them super simple. They make them easy to use. They make them, 3-3-3s, 2-2-2s. This is their logic. We know a lot of people like this character. We know a lot of people want this character. So let's give them bang for their buck. Let's make it really easy for them to get up the ranks. Let's make it really satisfying, because players have fun with their winning, right? So if you make the character really good, the people are going to like the character, they're going to like the game, and they're going to play. And that logic isn't truly bad. It's just bad when they push it to insane degrees. Like, if the characters was a little bit over the top, like a little bit, no one would really mind. But when you have the character like Heihachi with Ultra Instinct, Heihachi has the best 5th round performance. That's the final round performance. And that's because Heihachi mains save Ultra Instinct just in case they need it in the final round. And if they do, they activate Ultra Instinct and everyone gets destroyed. His final round performance is way higher than second place, almost like double. I think like it was like double or triple. That's an obvious sign of pay to win. And that's the things that make players upset. So Armor King in Tekken 7 released in an era where they really didn't do pay to win like that. But now they do. And they do it a lot for characters who are truly popular. And if you just talk about the 3-3-3s, 4-4-4s, the stances, the installs, I think Armor King is going to look very different in Tekken 8. I mean, look at Anna, right? But also with Anna, I think Anna's change was more justified than not. And the reason why I say that is because Anna also released the same year as Armor King. And she also was not truly busted. She was powerful. I think she was like a little bit better than what people said, but she was not super OP. But her usage was terrible. The question that I was posing in the past, not for Anna, but just for other characters like generally, is like when a character is performing terribly, when do you step in and say, okay, we need to either one, remove this character from the game and never bring him back, or two, overhaul them to an insane degree. For Bruce was replaced 3 times. Actually, a better example. Zafina showed up in Tekken 6, wasn't popular. Tekken Tag Tournament 2, not popular. Tekken 7, unpopular. Tekken 8, also unpopular. When do the developers stop putting her in a game? 4 games now, and she continues to be the least played character in the whole thing. When do they say, okay, enough? Or, if it's not enough, when do you radically overhaul the character? 4 games is a long time. And Anna Williams, it's been going on with her for longer than 4 games. I know she has a die-hard audience and a lot of people really love the character. I like Anna. But the statistics are the statistics. She is horribly underused. And the roster is so cutthroat right now. There's like 15 characters that we all can name that needs to be in Tekken 8. And for Anna to steal a slot while being one of the least played characters in franchise history, it's kind of like unfair in a way. Anna's going to show up, in theory, she's going to show up in Tekken 8, and she's going to be bottom 5 in the whole game. Meanwhile, we could have got Bob, Miguel, etc., whoever, right? And they would have been played much more. So it's just a weird thing where like the developers are in this weird situation where do they get rid of this character or bring them back? And if you bring them back, how do you prevent them from being what they always are? I think the overhaul that they gave Anna was to try and cater to like an FPS style player, like that audience. She looks very much like a Call of Duty skin, and I think if the Call of Duty guys see her, they may like her. Going back to Armor King, because a lot of people argue that the pay to win is necessary for people to, one, feel satisfied with their purchase, but then two, people feel it's necessary. And to that, I disagree. The first reason is Armor King. Armor King was not pay to win, and yet he was still the most popular character in the whole game. Leroy Smith, when he was shown just the teaser, no reveal or no gameplay, right? No like hands-on experience. Everyone was immediately blown away by his design. T-Pain cosplayed as Leroy Smith just based off of the teaser alone. Everyone purchased Leroy Smith because we loved the design. You can even talk about Fahkumram and more characters, etc. But the point is that you have examples where players just love the design and the character, and they're sold on that alone. And with Leroy Smith, a lot of people were uninterested when they realized how powerful he was. Now, you do have another portion of the player base who woke up and was like, power, pay to win, I'm in. I specifically remember watching a video of like Main Man being excited for Leroy Smith, but then when he realized how like brain dead he was like uninterested. And I remember there was a lot of content creators who felt that way. But then here comes when the pro players show up and they're like, oh, power, I can win in the tournament. And then boom, there's 1,000 Leroys at Evo Japan. Moon, do you think Fahkumram is coming back? I think potentially, yeah. Something that I always talk about with Fahkumram is how he has the most viewed trailer basically in all of Tekken. And also, with that being the case, going back to the top 3 most played DLC characters, it's Armor King, Fahkumram, and Heihachi. I do think there's a very good chance of him returning. But also, here's another also, with Fahkumram, you have to wonder if he will be as successful in Tekken 8 as he was in Tekken 7. Will the lightning strike twice? Because, the reason why I say that is because we have multiple examples of that not being the case in Tekken 8. Leroy Smith was popular in 7. In Tekken 8, he's terrible. His usage. Same thing with Lydia. Popular, Tekken 8, terrible. So, it's not guaranteed that just because Fahkumram was played in 7, he will be played in 8. From what we've seen, the opposite is true. It's hard to say. The evidence supports that he should be there, but also I think there's a very strong argument for Bruce being there as well. Bruce would be a huge W for all of fighting games. Like I could see Maximilian like, oh, Bruce. I feel like Tekken needs that huge W, and Fahkumram would not. Armor King would deliver. Fahkumram would not. Bruce would. Bruce is still cool though. We just haven't seen a new version of him so he's bland compared to anyone now. Yeah, that is true. His design is outdated. And Harada kind of spoke to this, not specifically to Bruce, but with Bruce, he was just talking generally about older Tekken designs. And this is the thing, people were talking about old outfits being put into Tekken, and he was saying no at the time. That was until he found out he could sell them in the shop. He was like, oh, okay, now we'll add them. But he was saying that, like, exactly what Kai said, basically. By today's standards, a lot of the older designs is very, very, bland. And when you look at someone like Bruce, of course he's going to look bland in comparison. Oh, but you guys want to see this? You know how people make concepts for what they think a character should look like? Here's a concept for what Bruce players think Bruce should look like. You can tell someone's dad got a hold of Photoshop and they were like, yeah, this is Bruce. And then you know what's even funnier? When I show this, there's a lot of people who say like, oh, that design's fire. What? What do you mean this design is fire? Whose dad got a hold of Photoshop? This design is not fire. What? They also had this one. What is this? We are not going to have the Street Fighter players looking at us create concepts of Bruce, and this is what they see. We going to put a stop to this. Isn't this a New York hat? Whoever in New York created this needs to be exiled. Get them out of there. They're making the whole state, not the city, the state look bad. What? I would be so upset if my city, country, whatever logo was on this hat. I would be so upset.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. 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 Boy, ain't no fucking